Welcome back to the show, everyone. We've often talked about doing a show about the show and how the show goes together. And our next guest has done that in an incredible way, using the archives and all. Well, he'll explain it. It's brilliant.
Yes, his name is Mohammad Salemy, and he's joining us now. He's the curator, by the way, of a great art exhibition that you can see here in Vancouver, opening on Friday. It's called Nature, Knowledge, and the Knower. How are you, Mo?
Very good, thanks.
So tell us about this exhibit.
Well, yeah, the exhibit kind of began many years ago, my first visit to the Museum of Natural History in New York, where I walked into the Eckford Hall, the African Hall of Dioramas. And when I heard that this was created in the 1920s, I was amazed at sort of like the type of skills and technology that went into it. So first chance I had to professionally research it, because I'm doing an MA in art history at UBC, I sort of like applied and I went back there as an intern. And I started researching, and it was supposed to just be a little summer research, but I realized this is what I want to do my thesis on. Well, so it became my thesis and my exhibition for graduates.
It's a fascinating study because, I mean, now we were talking about it, you'd throw up a website, or, you know, people sort of have this archival ability sort of built into our technology, but that didn't exist at the time. So when they were looking to build these exhibits and these dioramas, they had to go about it in a very fundamentally different way.
Yeah, but this is one of the points I'm trying to make with this exhibition, that like the kind of methods we use now to create virtual reality started in places like this because they were doing almost the same thing but with analog technology. So like piece by piece measuring and transferring information from nature into like a document and then bringing it to New York and then putting it all together, almost like putting all these two-dimensional things together to create three-dimensional spaces. Yeah.
And for
we do that
now.
now.
The Museum of Natural History, I mean, you can just picture it. I mean, it's such an amazing thing.
Yeah, the natural landscapes and then the exhibits in the middle.
But let's look at some of these pictures to give people an idea of what you've looked together. First of all, I think we've got the panorama.
This is for the background of the waterhole diorama, my favorite. And this photograph was taken in 1933 by Alfred J. Klein and sent, like, it was already a global phenomenon. Like, this guy was commissioned to take this picture, and then he took the picture and sent it to New York, and then they painted to the background of the diorama.
That's amazing. I never thought about it.
Yeah, did the Museum of Natural History, like, was all this stuff easily available, or did you have to go and sort of hunt it down? Did they know it was all there?
Well, they knew they had some stuff, but basically these files, when Clark died, they were just sitting in the exhibition department, and no one had really gone through them. So then they kind of like, they said, okay, your internship is a great moment for these boxes to be visited. So I actually processed them and organized them and kind of piece by piece said, that belongs to that diorama, that belongs to this. And kind of like, so the archive began to parallel the actual room as like objects. It
sounds like detective work almost, piecing it all together.
Archival work is detective work.
I mean, to hold that photo up and go, I know exactly what this goes with.
The great thing there is that you could actually take the photo downstairs and go like, and put it against a diorama and go like, oh, there it is, this belongs here.
Okay, let's look at the next one. It is a great picture.
Yeah, this is historic because that was taken in 1926 by Eckford, who dreamed about the African Hall. And he actually died later on in the same expedition. And it's got like, George Eastman of Kodak is right there sitting.
You're kidding.
Standing, and he's the Steve Jobs. He's the original Steve Jobs because he gave us photography. Yeah. Right? Like, so he's there kind of like collecting and also like enjoying his technology. This camera that's taking this picture, it's like the high tech. It's like this camera that goes around and makes 360-degree panorama.
It is kind of like looking into the wormhole when you're looking at the behind the scenes of what makes what we look at in the museum too, because there's so many dimensions to what we just walk past, you know?
Totally.
That must have been fascinating for you to make these discoveries.
Yeah, and fascinating that they did this. Like, you got to also understand that calculators weren't even invented back then. Yeah. So all these measurements had to happen with paper and mind. Like, for us, it's so easy to think of like, oh yeah, 55 minus 43. Right. But back then, there was nothing like that. So all
when
of
you're
this was
looking at
analog.
scale, or where you're looking at all these things,
sorts of notes and paper that brings all this material together and gives you really a virtual reality, but kind of like real virtual reality, not like virtual reality.
No, see what I mean? It's a mind
I know, it is a total. So we go from panoramas to photos to
these
things
are
like
documents.
This.
These are the single documents that they kind of like made in order to transfer the information. So this, for instance, is the color study of an aloe plant used in Klipspringer diorama that kind of tells you all the colors and all the shades of different types of like color that go together.
So most of the photos and some of the archival information would have been in black and white. So to actually
photos are black and white, and that's why they had artists with them, because photography couldn't get the color. So they have to have painters with them. So then these go with photography, and then together they will make like enough information for the artist to then recreate it out of wax. So this aloe plant is in the Klipspringer diorama in the form of wax. But the photos and the drawing inform the artist of how to make it.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
But this will be like something that an artist will do as sort of like give them the idea of like how the final thing would look like. And actually that one is sort of like a Canadian diorama in the North American Hall, and that's called Canada Lynx, which is the large Canadian cat.
Is that close to the final exhibit as well?
No, it's not. It changed. This is like an earlier thing. It changed because the cat is actually on the ground, and the rabbit is hidden behind a bush in the actual diorama that's still downstairs at the North American Hall.
Oh wow! Okay, next one. We want to get through a couple more.
This is like an earlier one from the Asian Hall, and the artist is unknown, but the detail, like you kind of see the type of art that need to be made in order for the information to be passed on for recreation. So what's amazing about these art is like they're utilitarian. They're not made to look good, but they also look good.
Yeah, and yet, I mean, it's fascinating because when you talk about, you know, part of this being the genesis of what we see and the way we create things today, I mean, it's fascinating because you still had to have that appreciation, that eye for detail, that idea of what you wanted to get to at the end to be able to see it all.
Oh, can we quickly talk about the monkeys? Because I thought these were pictures of real monkeys, but they're not.
No, these are actually in the Columbus diorama, and they're taxidermied. But as you see, the skills in taxidermy and the way they're sculpted, they make them look so alive. So in a way, in a way, they're immortalized.
Thank you. That makes me feel better.
Yeah, they're immortalized.
Okay. Mo, really quickly, the exhibit's going to be on here until January, but maybe you can explain where it is and what people are going to see.
The exhibit is at the Satellite Gallery at 560 Seymour upstairs, and it runs for quite a long time, from Friday, October 29th when it opens.
Yeah.
Actually, it officially opens Saturday morning, but the opening night, the party is Friday night, 28th. And then it runs all the way to January 14th. And I'm hoping to be able to show this in New York afterwards.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Well, I think you'll be able to. It's just a brilliant idea. I love it.
Thank you.
Mo, thank you for taking the time to speak with us. We're going to take a break, and when we come back...